I'd like to welcome you all to tonight's Business Finance Basics webinar, sponsored by SCORE and Truist. My name is Mercedes Diaz, and I'm a mentor with SCORE, and I will be the moderator for tonight's session. Just wanted to give folks a little bit of information about SCORE. And SCORE is a volunteer organization that was formed in 1964 as a resource partner of the SBA, Small Business Administration. And SCORE's mission is to help entrepreneurs and small business owners succeed. And we do that by a number of ways. One is through one-on-one business mentoring. So we have numerous business experience professionals who volunteer their time to help clients through one-on-one mentoring, which is free. And we also do it through education, things like webinars like we're doing tonight, other seminars, in-person seminars, resources, blogs, tools, templates. So all different ways in which we provide resources to small business owners. So before I introduce the main presenter, I just want to go over a few rules of engagement. We are recording tonight's presentation, and it will be made available to you. There'll be a follow-up email that comes out after the session, probably tomorrow, and you will have access to a recording. So if you forgot what was said, you can re-listen to it. However, all of you have been put on mute so we can avoid any unnecessary distractions. But we do have a way that you can put forth questions. So we ask that you put in your questions in the Q&A box within Zoom, and questions will be taken throughout the presentation. So, so put those questions in, we will be monitoring them, and we will get all those questions answered. And if you have any general comments to make to folks, to the hosts or participants, you can put that in the chat box. All right. We do have, so there's the Q&A box and the chat box. So I do want to thank Truist for sponsoring tonight's webinar. And we have Matt Wilson, who's going to be giving you information, great information about business finance basics to help you finance your businesses. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Matt and have him share his information. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome, and thank you, Mercedes, and good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening. As Mercedes says, my name is Matt Winston. I am with Truist Bank. I'm the multicultural banking leader here with Truist, and I'm joined with some of my phenomenal teammates as well. And so first and foremost, before we go forward, I just want to confirm, Shanaria.
Yes,
we're perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, everyone, thank you all so much for just taking time this evening and joining us as we talk about business finance basics. Wanted to start again with a welcome. Again, my name is Matt Winston, the multicultural banking leader here with Truist. I support Truist in Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey for our financial education efforts, specifically thinking through how we support our small business community. We'll talk more in depth. And I am honored and privileged to be joined by two of my fantastic colleagues this evening, Shanaria Ashley and Scenaria Henderson. And so I would let them just introduce themselves. Shanaria, you can go first, and then Scenaria.
Okay. Hi, good evening. Like Matthew said, my name is Shanaria Ashley. I am the Community Development Manager for Truist and have the pleasure to serve the state of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We pride ourselves on being a resource for our community. So excited to kind of spend some time with you this evening and talk about how to grow your business. So I'll turn it over to Scenaria now.
Thank you, Shanaria. And my name is Scenaria Henderson. I am a branch leader for Truist in the Wayne location. I'm so excited for this evening's presentation. And we appreciate you all for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Scenaria. Thank you, Scenaria. Y'all don't have to be on camera. I know y'all are my backup resources, and I'm going to have them chiming in and sharing their expertise because I brought some subject matter experts with me tonight to make sure that we really take away some things and really make sure that you feel empowered. So just to share a little bit as far as who we are at Truist. So Truist is the combination of BB&T and SunTrust. We merged February of last year to become Truist Bank. We are the 7th largest bank in the country. And our purpose at Truist is to inspire and build better lives and communities. And I like to say that we actually get to live out that purpose by having conversations and dialogue and training sessions just like we're doing tonight. And so really this is something we're passionate about because we want to make sure that you feel empowered and that you feel taken care of. Especially as a small business owner, you are the backbone of the community. You're the creators, risk takers. There's so much that goes into it. I grew up with small business owners all around me, in my family. My family member, my brother-in-law is a small business owner, my uncles, my grandparents. So I understand, I've seen it firsthand. And so we want to be there to support. And so we want to support from a standpoint of scale and service. And so, like I said, we're going to give you that 7th largest bank capability, but also that community bank feel and making sure that we understand and partner with you in commitment that we get to know you as a person, but also your business specifically. We want to understand really how we can help and not make you feel like a number, but make you feel special and know that we're here with you and bring expertise and resources so you can achieve everything that you hope for. So before I get into the agenda, what we're going to talk about, all of those great things, okay? I will let you all know now, this is not going to be a 1-hour presentation of me talking consistently and you all saying nothing. It is not a 1-hour presentation of Scenario or Scenario just talking and you all not saying anything. This is going to be interactive. We are going to participate. The goal is for you all to walk away with information and feeling empowered, okay? I will say this as well. Getting the information is great, but we want you to do something with it. And so whether that's you're doing it with your bank that you're currently with, or you need help and you want to talk to us at Truist, we're here to help you. But the goal, regardless, is to implement. But like I said, we're going to interact tonight. So Mercedes talked about the Q&A feature and the chat feature, okay? What I want you all to do, let's practice using the chat feature. Shanaria, can you just put something in the chat for me really quick, just so the little icon pops up? Purpose. Okay, so you all should have like a little red dot that shows the chat feature. I want you all, so you can get practice using chat, put in the chat for me what you had for dinner or what you plan on having for dinner tonight. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so please put something good in there. Use the chat feature. Put in there what you've had for dinner. Pasta. Thank you, Shanaria. Soup. Ooh, chicken wings. Oh, my favorite. Korean barbecue chicken. Y'all are speaking to me. I was feeling like I was in a chicken mood before we got going, and this is confirmed. Pizza and salad. That also sounds good. Grilled chicken Caesar. Chicken is calling me. The chicken is calling me. Okay. Chicken Caesar salad. Shredded chicken with Scenario, I think chicken is the winner. That's what I'm eating after this presentation. I think that's what we're going to do. Greek grape leaves. Ooh, that sounds good. Okay. So thank you all. Y'all know how to use the chat feature. We're good there. Now let's practice with Q&A. So I want to share in there, if you looked in the chat, Shanaria shared that her daughter is actually a small business owner. So I want you all to practice using the Q&A feature, and I want you to use the Q&A to ask Shanaria what type of business does her daughter have. So use the Q&A box to ask Shanaria what type of business does her daughter have. There we go, Daniel. I see you put it in there.
Oh, okay. I'm getting
Yeah.
them in. Okay. Daniel,
Yes,
Michael, Pradeep. Okay.
they're coming
Damien.
in.
They're coming in.
So, Shanera, you want to share for the group?
Yes, yes. So my daughter has a marketing consulting business. She provides businesses with virtual marketing, virtual assistant services, and she just picked up her 4th contract. I'm super proud of her. She's in Maryland, so in Virginia, so she's in that area. This was cool, Matthew. I think I received 5 questions here. Awesome. Wendy, yeah, everyone came through.
Yes, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you all for indulging me in that. And we are going to get going into the presentation now. So we all know how to participate. Keep that chat open, keep the Q&A open. We're going to be using it throughout, okay? So let's go into the agenda. We're going to talk tonight about how to improve the cash flow of your business. Then we're going to go into continuing to build and expanding your business. And then we'll wrap up how to protect your business as well, okay? So I want you all to think through and ask yourself these questions. This is to get your mind going. You don't have to put it in the chat, but this is for you to kind of process and think to yourself. How long have you been in business? What are your annual sales? Where do you actually see your business in 5 years? And what do you need to know, do, or learn to get there? Okay. Really, the last two are really key. And that's probably why you're here tonight. Where do you see your business in 5 years? And what do you need to know, do, or learn to get there? As we're thinking through business growth, I just want to say every business is unique. It's different, right? No matter, there's different industries. You can be in two separate industries, therefore you're going to operate your business very differently. But you could technically be in the same industry and operate very differently as well. Think about this. You can be in the food industry, but a food truck is going to operate very differently than a brick and mortar restaurant like maybe an Applebee's. But in terms of managing your finances, every business has to have certain things in place to manage them effectively. You're always going to need business bank accounts, efficient methods to receive payments from your customers, efficient methods to make payments to your suppliers, cash flow management tools, access to credit and borrowing, and the appropriate insurance coverage. And so, depending on where you are in your business, you may need all of these things, one of these things, and that's okay. But again, this is the framework that every business needs to have in place in order for your finances to be managed effectively. So I want to hear from you all because, again, we want to make sure this presentation is impactful. And I want to just know what are some pain points. So this says, what are some common finance challenges for you all as business owners? But put in the chat for me, what are some challenges in general you all are facing as a business owner? Use the chat. Let us know what are some challenges that you all are facing as a business owner in terms of your finances for your business. Or maybe it's what you're hoping to learn tonight. Need more resources? Okay, thank you. Let's see what we got. Consistent periods of work. Yeah, that's a good one, Daniel. Access to capital, funding for startup. Very true, right? I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that how do I get the money to get going? Startup costs, knowing how much money we need to open our business. Absolutely. And we'll talk through that too as well, as far as where you can get the funding, the costs, and all of those things. Need money and time. Absolutely, right? Startup costs. All of these things are so important and they're real. And I wanted you all to share because, again, you're not just by yourself. We all are feeling these things, and it's very real and a great opportunity. But we're going to address a lot of this stuff tonight, okay? So let's get going and dive into the presentation. So let's talk about managing your business cash flow, okay? So let's start here. And when I talk about managing your business cash flow, I always tell people the first place we have to start before I can start teaching you how to optimize your cash flow and all those other things. I need to make sure you understand the importance behind separating your business and your personal finances, and that we're doing that the appropriate way. And so understanding your business financial accounts, they're there to help you manage your business and understand and manage your business cash flow. You can't understand how your business is doing financially if you're managing your business and your personal finances all out of the same account. It's just not possible. You may think your business has money, but it really could be that your spouse direct deposit hit and they got a little extra cash because they were working overtime. It's not that your business is doing well. And so making sure that you have things separated. Establish a professional reputation. I had someone ask me before, how does having a business account establish my professional reputation? Well, think about it like this. If I am providing a business service to someone, a legit business service, and I say I take check and they ask me, who do they write the check payable to? If I say write a check payable to Matt Winston, they may think, oh, I'm just doing this on the side. I'm not really trying to grow. It's just a little side job. Maybe I don't take it so seriously. Versus if I say MKW Consulting LLC, they're probably going to take me more seriously and consider it to be, okay, that's legit. You got your stuff in order. You mean business. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you're complying with IRS regulations. I don't think anybody wants to get in trouble with Uncle Sam. One thing I know about Uncle Sam is he will find his money. Okay. And so making sure your money and things are separated, make sure that you are in compliance and therefore not going to have any issues. And just remember your personal accounts are there to help you pay your bills at home, your growth and retirement, and your individual and your personal goals for your household. So, how do you separate your personal and business finances? Okay. So, let's think through this. Is one, making sure that you're getting that employer identification number for your business, that EIN number. I don't want to ever assume that everybody is at that step. So, in case you are not, it's very simple and easy to do, irs.gov. Okay. From there, you also want to make sure that you're filing your paperwork with the state, that you're registering your business. I love somebody talk about, what are the costs associated with starting your business? You need to think through some traditional startup costs and things too as well. So yes, it's free to get your EIN number, but it does cost to actually register your business with the state. And so looking into that, what are those costs? Does it require any permits or licensing or anything of that nature? Are there any trademarks or patents that you may need to do? And looking into what are those costs as well and getting that idea. After you've actually registered your business with the state, and then you've gotten your EIN number, open that business checking account and request a debit card. And the reason being is because as you are making those business expenses, you need to pay things that needs to be coming out of that business checking account. But the same way as you are being paid by your customers, that money needs to go into that business account. Now, I've had people say before, why do I need a business account? My business hasn't really started. And I'll give you a prime example. I did this presentation several months ago in person in Maryland, and a lady came up to me afterwards and she said, well, I don't think I need a business account right now because I'm not really doing anything. I'm actually getting ready to get approved for a grant for my business for $10,000. And then once I get the grant, then I'll open a business account. And I had to let her know, I need you to go to the bank literally the next morning and open a business account because they are not going to give you a $10,000 grant for your business in your personal account. And she didn't think about it like that. And so it's always not necessarily maybe because you're up and running, but making sure that you're not missing any opportunity. The next thing is making sure that you have a business credit card. And we'll talk more how that can help you, but separating it. Your personal credit card is not a business credit card. A business credit card is going to be under the EIN number of the business, not your social. And last but not least, pay yourself by transferring yourself a salary from your business account to your personal account. So that could be whether you do it as a actual salary or an owner's draw. That can be dependent on the nature of your business type and entity legal structure, but also, kind of what makes sense for you. So are you needing a consistent paycheck? Then you're probably going to want to go the salary route. But if you want maybe something that's going to free up the cash flow, not put as much a strain on your business, and you can go a little bit longer, then you may go the owner's draw, where as the money is there, you take that money. But you want to show whichever route you go, whether it's a salary or an owner's draw, regardless, you want to show some sort of paper trail that you are actually paying yourself a salary. And there are several reasons for this. One is you have personal lives, personal goals, you as business owners. And so you need to show that you are paying yourself and you're getting an income from your business, especially if that is what you do for a living 24/7. If you go to apply for a mortgage, they're going to ask for 2 years of your business and your personal tax returns. You need to show that you are paying yourself. Also, I just want to emphasize the importance of paying yourself. I'm sure everybody remembers COVID, and everybody remembers when they were offering the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP loans. I do because we here at the bank, Shanaria and myself, we showed up on a Monday in our regular job roles, and then by noon, we were actually underwriters, right? And so with the PPP loans, in order to get qualified, I want you all to put in the chat, what do you think was the main determining factor if a business would have qualified for that PPP loan? Put it in the chat for me.
Pat, while they're doing that, I'm just going to interject. Before you even get an EIN, what's critically important is to develop a business plan. To develop a business plan to ensure that you understand what you're doing and that it is a viable, profitable business. And SCORE mentors can help you the business plan and also walk you through some of these steps. So you don't have to go it alone, as Matt has said. A business
Thank you,
plan is
Mercedes.
critical.
No, that's huge. And it's a great point because you don't want to, some people will quit their jobs and then just try to go in their business and they've done no research on it. And so thank you for that point, Mercedes. You are
Absolutely.
exactly right. Let's see, we have a certain amount of employees that they have a business account showing that the business has a staff to pay. Okay. All right, Daniel. You're kind of the closest here. They had to show proof of payroll. They had to show proof of payroll. And so just showing up, showing that, oh, I give cash or anything, that did not count. They had to actually show, whether that was writing checks or anything, they had to show proof of payroll in order to qualify for the PPP loan. Even if you were a sole proprietorship and you were the only employee, you paid yourself. If you had that proof of payroll, it could have happened. And so don't miss out on funding opportunities. We hope something like that never happens again. But just like Scenario put in the chat, you may need a loan, right? Lending, all of these things play a part. All right. So let's keep on going and talk about what do you need to open a business bank account. For each business owner, you need to make sure you're bringing your social security number, date of birth, address, government issued ID, and individual percentage of ownership. I want to pause here for a second. And Scenario, can you just speak to the beneficial ownership form and what's that percentage to as well? And what is that?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, beneficial owner form is something that's not just required by Truist, but it's required by all banks. And essentially, what that form does is it tells us who the actual owners are. It identifies the percentage of the ownership listed outside of any articles or any other paperwork that you may have from the state, but it actually identifies the percentage of ownership. If the percentage of ownership for one individual is less than 25%, then it does not have to be disclosed. But every owner that has 25% or more must be listed on the beneficial owner. Now, when you're opening an account, let's say there's 4 owners and only one owner is there, they're opening the account. Each owner has 25% interest. All owners don't have to be present, but that one owner needs to know their information, and that one owner is going to sign as a beneficial owner as well as a controlling person. So it's really important if you are opening up businesses with partners that you have that conversation. Percentages are really important. It's really easier when it's one owner that's 100% owner, but when you come down to more complex and you're in partnership with your spouse, you're in partnership with a relative, or just a general partner, then you really want to make sure that that's a part of the account opening process that will be asked, and it's an essential part of the account opening process because we cannot open an account without knowing that identifying information.
Thank you, Scenario. That was an excellent explanation of the beneficial ownership form and the importance of ownership. I'm also going to put a pin in that particular section because we're going to come back to the importance of ownership as well when we go to lending. So I see a question that says 25% or more if I am not a solo owner. And so I am a single owner. So it's just you, Jamie, is that correct? If it's just you, then you are 100% the owner. And that's okay. Yep. It's just sometimes if you're in business with more than one person, so if it's not just you, how you break up the percentage of ownership is where that comes into play. So great question. I'm glad I'm glad we were able to clarify that. In terms of the business, you always want to make sure you bring the legal business name, EIN number, that organization paperwork and start date, and that business physical address. Okay. So let's talk through tips for business debit and credit cards. This is important, y'all. Your business debit cards are great for your everyday purchases and ATM deposits. Y'all see how it does not say here ATM withdrawals? The business is not making a withdrawal from the ATM like a normal person would, right? Everything for the business has a purpose, meaning there should always be a paper trail to make it make sense. And so you saying I need to just take out $200 right quick to pay something in cash, That's not how this should work. That's not how that works from a business account. Don't think about it like that. If you need to pay a bill for yourself, you write yourself a check or do an electronic transfer or do something of that nature. But an ATM withdrawal is not the route. Also, when we talk about business credit cards, they are great for everyday purchases. A good business credit card is going to earn you rewards, typically cash rewards. It's also going to allow you to control cash flow. And so there may be times where you are waiting for those receivables to come in. So you're waiting to get paid, but you still got things to buy. You still got a business to run. Having a business credit card will allow you to be able to make the purchases and buy the inventory and do the things that you need to do to allow your business to continue to keep going until that money comes in, and then you can pay it off. Also, it's great to establish credit history for your business, and which we will talk more about in a few minutes too as well. And then also can help protect you from fraud. ATM withdrawal. What about using it as petty cash for business related travel? So here's the thing. If I take money out the ATM as a withdrawal, there's no way that I can notate in there that that's petty cash. No one knows what that's for. All it says is withdrawal. If I know I'm doing business related travel and I need cash, I should be actually going to the bank and doing a withdrawal that way. Or just using my debit card. Talk to your tax accountant, see what's the best way. They may tell you that, hey, using your debit card is fine to pay for everything. But figuring out, but just doing it as an ATM withdrawal, there's no way to identify what was the particular purpose because you don't really have that paper trail. All it's going to say is just withdrawal. What was the reason or the why or the rationale? If you were to come into the branch and you're doing a petty cash withdrawal, typically it's going to be notated on there somewhere, petty cash. Aaron, if you want to put in the chat for me, did that answer your question? Hopefully that did. Perfect. All right, let's keep on going. So we've established that groundwork. We've laid that foundation. Let's talk about cash flow. We know cash flow is that's that money coming in from the selling of the merchandise or the service that you provide minus your expense sources. So that office supplies, equipment, vehicles, employee wages, or vendors. So let's talk about how do you actually manage your cash flow. There's three main categories. There's business deposit accounts. There's that money coming in. And then it's also how you pay out. So that money going out. So your business deposit accounts, that's your intermediary. So regardless of the money coming in or it's going out, it's always coming through the business deposit account. You can have more than one business account. It's really about the nature of your business and what makes sense. We actually typically advise people to have multiple accounts and to give them designated purposes because it does make it a lot easier. So have account for your primary operating day-to-day expenses for your business. Have a separate account for payroll. And so one thing about this, right? If the minute you get employees, they have to get paid. They don't care that the operating account has $10. They expect for that paycheck to still hit. Think about yourself. I think about me. Here's the honest thing. I love my job, but I expect that paycheck to still hit in that direct deposit because if it doesn't, that's a different story, right? And you need your employees to be there so you can continue to make money. So having a separate account, so even if the operating account only has $10, you know that that payroll account still has money and these people are still going to show up for work. Having a business savings or money market account for that reserve, the same way that you plan for unexpected expenses and emergencies on the personal side, do it on the business side. If you are an online-based business and you use your laptop all the time, that's how you do business, and it dies. Anybody ever had a laptop go dead on you? It's not fun. I don't care how many times you press the power button, it's not coming back on. And you now need to immediately go buy a laptop. And if you bought a laptop recently, you know they are not cheap. And so having money for things like that, or maybe it's just a great business opportunity and it's a great contract that you're trying to win that would change how your business structure and just the growth of your business if you win it. But in order to get in, you need $2,000. So having money there so you don't miss opportunities. Then we think about collecting money. So how do you have people pay you? So are you going to take cash and checks? But if you're taking cash and checks, are you going to be diligent enough to bring that to the bank to deposit, whether you bring it to the teller or you actually do it at the ATM? But you need to do that. If you're taking cash, and we're talking about cash flow and doing everything on the up and up, that cash needs to be deposited in your account. It's not for you to just dip in and grab a 20 here and there. Okay. Do you want people to pay you via Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal? And I tell people if you're typically dealing with Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal, then you're probably going to want to start talking more about merchant services as well. So thinking about debit and credit cards, and we'll talk a little bit as far as the benefits of that too as well. And so all of this has to do with how fast you want people to pay you. And then how are you going to make payments? So are you going to pay your supplies and your vendors and things like that? Are you going to use checks and debit cards? Are you going to use a business credit card? If you are having employees, are you going to use a payroll service? And so all of these things play together. How does this all work in terms of you managing it? So think about this, right? If you have to pay stuff really, really fast and you have a very fast turnaround time for your money going out, but you're only taking checks and it's taking you a while for things to clear, then there may be a deficit here and you're not getting the money coming in as fast enough to cover what's going out, which can make things seem a little bit tight. Or maybe the reverse. Your money's coming in, it's flowing, you have a very fast receivable time, and you don't really have much money that's going out, your bills and things like that. Maybe you pay it once every 6 months, and so you're sitting on cash. What do you do that money? How do you apply it? Okay. And so from there, how do we manage and think through all of this? We say use a cash flow statement. A cash flow statement is going to help you understand operational trends, cash flow fluctuations, just give you overall insight into how liquid is your business and can you pay your expenses as they become due. Put in the chat for me, have you seen a cash flow statement before and are you currently using one? So put in the chat for me, yes or no. Okay, we got a no, we got a yes. No, I haven't yet. No, I have. Okay. All right. No. So let's talk through it. Let's talk about the importance and the why behind it. Okay. So I'm going to show y'all an example of a cash flow statement. And so this right here is an example cash flow statement. It's literally going to give you where was the starting cash at the beginning of the month, the additional, it says cash receipts, but think through that from a term of that money coming in. And then you're going to talk about cash paid out, so that money going out. And it's literally broken down into categories. And so think of things like advertising, business insurance, interest expense, other things like materials and supplies, meals and entertainment, office expense, so much right here, okay? And it's broken down month after month after month after month after month. And so you can see if there's any fluctuations from maybe January to February to March and going, and where did you end up with the cash on hand at the end of that month too as well, at the end of that period. And so why this is important, one, you can see in real time where you are spending your money. Maybe you're like, I didn't realize I'm actually spending so much money on meals and entertainment, and this makes no sense because I'm not getting any business from that. Or maybe you're saying, I am spending so much money on marketing and most of my business is coming from referrals. I probably can scale that back and apply that money somewhere else, where it makes more sense. And so thinking through this allows you to make business informed decisions. I always say make decisions based on data. Don't make it based off of feelings, especially you all as business owners. You want to make smart decisions, use data. Don't do it all necessarily always all the time based off of your feelings. And so you can make a decision based off just a few months of what you're seeing here versus waiting 12 months, you file your tax return and say, wow, I wasn't as profitable as I thought. I wish I would have known. Well, this will let you know on giving you some insight into things that you can do different in real time. So how do you actually optimize your cash flow? One thing about reducing operational costs, I just mentioned that, right? So think through ways that maybe you can cut back. Are there any ways? Think of if you have to buy supplies. We are creatures of habit. And so maybe you're going to the same vendor over and over again to pay the supplies, but are they really the cheapest? Not saying do not sacrifice quality, but can you find it from a different supplier or vendor at a cheaper price? Do some research. Also look into things and take into account when your business insurance comes up for renewal. Do some research, look around. Am I getting the best deal on my business insurance? Am I getting the best deal on my merchant services? All those sorts of things. The same way you do a periodic checkup on the personal side, do it on the business side. Okay. Then think through how you can streamline the accounts payable and the accounts receivable process. And so think through this and outsource time consuming tasks. If you are doing the books for your business, right, you're trying to write everything down and it takes you a whole day, day and a half to put all the numbers and the figures together, and that's just a day, day and a half you wasted on admin, is that the best use of your time? Or could you pay $20, get QuickBooks, link it to your online banking, it takes your transactions and generates all this stuff for you, And then that's a day to a day and a half back where you can be out here generating revenue. That makes more sense to me. If you have employees and you have them as W9 employees, W2 employees, versus 1099, W2 versus 1099. So thinking through that, and you have to do payroll. When you're doing payroll for someone, you got to make sure their hours match up. If they're W2 employees, you got to make sure that you take out taxes, do all of that sort of stuff. So again, is it taking you a whole day, day and a half, or do I outsource it and get a payroll service that takes care of that? Pay $50 a month, $55 a month, call it a day, and I'm out here generating revenue for my business. And last but not least, evaluate your pricing for potential increases. And so here's what I would also emphasize too as well is do some market research. Prices are going up, y'all. Inflation is real. Prices are up. My Chipotle costs more. My chicken wings cost more. My eggs done went down a little bit. They done stabilized. But things are up. I think we can all agree. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, right? So if everything else around us is evaluating the prices and they're going up in prices, it's okay if you need to as well. But do your research. It's okay to do a market analysis and do research. So what does that mean? Do a little quick analysis. Find some other businesses out there that are similar to what you do or in the same line of business in the same area or close enough. See what they're charging and then make your adjustments accordingly. So what you may find is business A is charging $130 on the service. The other business charging $120, and here you are charging $80. Well, you have quite a bit of room to increase your price. Now, your clientele may say, I can't believe you're going on price and you're going up. That's where you as the business owner need to demonstrate that you've done your research. And that conversation may simply sound like this. I understand that we've gone up on pricing, but I can guarantee you're still going to get the same level of experience and service and quality that you've been getting. And we've done our research and can say that we are still very competitive in the market and probably the cheapest that you're going to find out there. I know you probably want to do your own research, but I can assure you that, again, you're still going to get the same level of quality and we're still going to be the cheapest out there compared to our peers. Do your research, have your proof points together, and stand on what you bring to the table. Know your worth. And so if you need to bring those and increase your prices, it is okay. So I know I've gone over a bit. I want to go ahead, put some questions in Q&A if you have any questions before we go to the next portion. Any questions about cash flow? All right. Well, if y'all put them in there, if I see it. Oh,
No
yes.
questions at this time, Matt.
Thank you, Mercedes. All right, let's keep on going. So let's talk about how do you build and expand your business, okay? One of the main ways you can do that, and we're going to talk about two, is one is merchant services. And so typically when people think of merchant services, they think of payment acceptance and payment processing. And so think about a debit credit card, Google Pay, Apple Pay. They also think about if you have the little swipe terminal attached to the phone, or also if you have the big bulky terminal, but also think about integrating it with your website too as well. So that is also merchant services. Every time you buy something off of Amazon, you are using merchant services, okay? How does it actually help grow, build, and expand your business? There is actually something called customer analytics. So that allows you to understand your target market. So that allows you to understand how your clients are actually spending and buying your products and your services. Which products and services are your best sellers? It lets you make informed decisions to help you then drive growth even more. Think about this. When you go to the store and you see a sweater that says buy one, get one 50% off, it is not because the CEO woke up and said, I like green sweaters. Let's do a buy one, get one 50% off on green sweaters. No, they use customer analytics saying if we do this, that'll actually generate more revenue because it'll increase pricing and they were going to buy it anyway, right? So understanding how that can help you. What I will say is, does every business need merchant services? No, not necessarily. I had a business before I worked with. He literally was a trucking business. His only clientele was the government. They only paid with ACH. That was it.
You have a question in the chat. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, absolutely. What's the question,
The
Shanaria?
question is from Daniel, and it says, what is the best way to categorize an owner's draw and mint in QuickBooks?
Ooh, that is a great question, Daniel. What I would tell you is one, if you do not have an actual accountant or a tax person that you're working with, get you one. Typically, a financial accountant would be the great one to talk to about this, because if you are doing an owner's draw, you want to make sure that it is showing and reflecting the appropriate way. And so they are the ones who will actually advise you on the best way for you to actually take that to make sure that it reflects accordingly. And if you do have someone that you are working with, ask them that question, because typically a financial accountant wants to be able to access your QuickBooks anyway. You're welcome. So merchant services, again, not every business needs it, but there are certain ones in order to just simply be competitive, you have to have it. All right. Now let's talk about how else you can build and expand your business is borrowing. So why does a business need to borrow? Whether it is expanding or leasing or getting a new location, purchasing new equipment, tools or supplies, getting that access to startup capital. I know that was mentioned at the beginning. Seasonal lulls. So if you know you're coming up to your slow period, your business still has expenses. How do you pay for those? Preparing for seasonal highs. You know you're about to go to your busy season. How do you get that inventory to make sure you hit the ground running? You can even consolidate existing business debt and just having money available for growth opportunities. And so there's different borrowing solutions out there. And I know Shanaria put in the chat some additional small business resources, but I will touch on this. Whether that is you could do a small business loan, which is great for like a one-time lump sum, whether inventory or unexpected expenses. A small business auto loan. So if you need to purchase or replace or refinance or upgrade a vehicle for business purpose, small business commercial vehicle and equipment loan. Again, that is great for if you're thinking about a larger vehicle, maybe like an actual tractor trailer, dump truck or something like that, would be that commercial vehicle or an equipment loan. And so maybe you have a restaurant and you need to buy an industrial freezer that could technically fall under an equipment loan. There's so many different things of that nature. And so yes, you can do a small business loan for equipment. Small business real estate loan. So whether you want to buy or refinance real estate for business purpose or investment purposes. And then a small business line of credit, which is great. If you're not familiar how that works, that is literally putting a line of credit, so a certain amount in place over a set period of time, maybe 3-5 years. And if you don't use it, you don't pay anything on it. You only pay back what you borrow. But think about that being there for emergencies, but also helping you during those difficult times. As your business, maybe you're going through a lull period or you need to prepare for those seasonal highs, that small business line of credit is what will allow you to do those things. So let's talk about business loans, okay? Because I know everybody wants to talk about funding, and I'm also going to allow Shanaria and Scenaria to share in just a moment too as well. So first, the best type of financing for your business really just depends on your situation and what you want to accomplish. What I always tell people is when you come in to apply for a loan, we're going to have a conversation. We're never just going to say, you come in and say, I want a $25,000 business loan. We're having a conversation first because we need to understand what is the purpose, what's the why, and then we can make the best determinations and recommendations based off of that. Our goal is to help you, but we kind of need to understand the details first and really understand the full picture. So I always want to start there. Next, business credit cards are a great way to start building business credit, okay? Here's why I say that. With a business credit card, you can get a business credit card as a startup, meaning you just started your business, you can apply for that business credit card, and if you are approved, you can get that. And again, that is a great way. We were talking about how do I get startup money, that startup access to capital. Having that can allow you to do that, to get that money so you can start that business and get things going. The reason why is because when you apply for a business loan, line of credit, or a credit card, you are considered what is called a personal guarantee or a personal guarantor. Okay. The only time you would not be is if it is a nonprofit. What does that mean? Even though the debt itself would go under the business, we would still look at your credit to help make the lending determination and income. And so, I'm going to come back to that question, Pradeep. I'm going to have Scenaria speak to that in just a moment. And so understanding that, yes, your personal credit does play an impact as far as you qualifying for business lending, especially as a startup small business, okay? As we were talking about beneficial ownership and the percentages, this also plays a portion into the lending component too as well. So Scenaria, can you share how does that work from a lending? If a business is trying to do a business loan, how does that work from the owner perspective as far as their percentage of ownership and who would be on the loan as the guarantor?
Yes. So, same situation when you're talking about beneficial owner. We're looking at the percentage of who owns the actual business. And so in the same, it's important that we understand who the ownership is, because those owners or that individual owner will be the personal guarantor for that loan, line, or credit card. So with that being said, we use the same form. We use the beneficial owner to determine the percentage of ownership. And that's how we determine the percentage of what the guarantor is going to need in terms of the loan. Matt brought up a really great point about owner's draw and taking money and taking the salary. That's so crucial. It's important because not only do we look at the business tax returns when we're making a lending determination, we also look at your personal tax return. So it's equally important that regardless of how you're paying yourself, if you're taking a salary, we're still looking for that income, because as an individual owner or an individual guarantor, we need to ensure that you also have income. Great story. I was working with a client who is applying for a loan, who did not file personal tax returns. It's a business loan, been in business for years, has not filed personal tax returns, has filed business tax returns. And so, of course, we understand the reason why this owner did not file personal tax returns. But at the end of the day, from a credit perspective, we need to see your source of personal income. So with that being said, we had to deny the loan as a result of that, because the client didn't have personal tax returns. So it's really, really important that, when you're thinking about the lending piece, when you're thinking about getting funding for your business, that you work with a financial accountant or a tax preparer that's going to guide you in the right way in terms of making sure that your taxes are filed, making sure that your personal taxes are filed, because you're going to need all those things. And every guarantor, so if there's 4 guarantors that are applying for the loan, we're looking at the tax returns for the business and personal for each individual guarantor. If you're 100%, obviously we're just looking at yourself. But in terms of guarantors, we're asking for those tax returns as well. So that's important. Did that answer the question, Matt?
You're on mute, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, you're on mute.
Oh, I don't know even how that happened. So I would just say you did answer the question scenario. And I would just say, going back to what we talked about earlier, conversations to have with people if you're going in business with them, is to also ask them, what's your credit score like, right? Especially if we're talking about percentages. Is it tough conversations to have? Yes. But is it important? Yes. Because you don't want that to be the reason that your business can't lend or your business can't borrow, is because one of the people that have a higher percentage of ownership is the hindrance or the block. So working through those nuances is a big thing. I saw a question from Pradeep said, what are the qualifications for small business real estate loan, purchase of residential property? Similar to what Scenario mentioned, as far as we're going to look at the tax returns, we're going to look at from you as the guarantor piece as well. There's also some portion of the property that you're looking at the appraisal. What I would say is from a specific standpoint, depends on the amount. And there's maybe, yes, we have the commercial real estate piece, but if we need to go to SBA option, depending on the amount, we can. So I will make sure to put in there, because for those that don't know, and this is why I wanted to have Scenario on the line, she does work specifically with our small business clients, and also from a small business lending perspective, including the real estate loan, purchase residential property. So I'll make sure to put her email in the chat at the end. So if you do have specific questions around that or anything of the content, feel free to reach out. She can help. So let's talk through now protecting your business. I want to wrap up and finish here, okay? So I want you all to remember these 3 things. They're so important. Business insurance protects you against unforeseen events. Even minor mishaps can lead to large lawsuits. Think about McDonald's. They got sued because they didn't have hot on them cups and somebody burnt themselves on a coffee cup. You would think coffee is hot. Somebody made millions off of that, right? And at a minimum, General liability insurance is a must for all business owners. And so really it is important to think about just protecting you. We never know. We hope these things don't happen, but we know life happens. And so we don't know what the future holds. So there could be fire, cybercrime, bodily injury, theft, property damage, so many things. So protecting you and your business, because if your business is not protected, you don't have the appropriate insurance coverage, who's responsible? You are. And so don't put yourself or find yourself in that situation. So just want to quickly touch on some of the types of business insurance out there. You have commercial property insurance. That's going to cover everything from building and inventory to signage and furniture. It's going to safeguard against loss, theft, or damage, and also protect against business interruption and loss of income and loss of use of property due to that. General liability coverage, that's going to manage risks and protect your business from claims or lawsuit. You also have life and disability insurance, and it allows your business to continue operating in the event of death or disability. You also have that workers' compensation insurance, and so legally required if you have employees. It's going to cover against lost productivity, employee medical expenses, and missed wages. Commercial auto insurance is going to protect if you have a business vehicle that's under the business. It's going to cover a company vehicle in the event of an accident, damage, or theft. Business interruption insurance. So if a covered event causes your business to close or miss out on income, this insurance protects you. Don't neglect business interruption insurance if it makes sense. Last year, I had a business owner that shared with me in this presentation. He was a barbecue company, well, a barbecue restaurant. He had a brick and mortar, but he also had 2 food trucks because they were big in the festival season. Business interruption insurance would have cost him an extra $13 a month. He was like, I'm not paying that. It's a waste of my money. One of the food trucks caught on fire. Business interruption insurance would have covered it, but because he didn't have it, he missed out on $55,000 a month until he got it fixed. So just thinking through that. Does that mean you always need it? No. But again, have that conversation dialogue with your business insurance agent that you're speaking with. They're going to ask you questions just like we're going to ask you questions to make sure that they're making the appropriate recommendations. But just be mindful of that. And last but not least, cyber fraud insurance, and it helps protect your business from data breaches and other cyber attacks. So I know we have gone over quite a bit this evening, okay? I want you all to put in the chat for me really quick. What is one takeaway that you got from tonight?
I know there were so many, Matt. You just went over so much, you and the ladies, terrific amount of information you provided.
Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I just want you all to put in the chat for me one takeaway, business insurance is very important. Management of finances, absolutely. Forgot about business insurance and our business plan. Okay.
I'm
Oh,
glad you mentioned the business plan. I'm glad.
yes, yes. To have a different account for different business purposes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So here's what I will say, everyone. Funny, but never finished my business plan. Well, Mercedes is going to talk about how you can finish it as we get ready to wrap up here in a second. So again, right, remember what I said at the beginning, everyone. Getting this education is the first step, but the hard part is now. You got to implement what you learn. So if you have a financial institution that you work with, go talk to them. But if you don't and you need help, we are here to assist. Scenaria, put your email in the chat. Reach out to Scenaria. You can email her, call her. She's great and fantastic. And she's local too as well. But we are here to help if you need us to implement any of the things that you learned about tonight. And so at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mercedes.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. And Jamie is actually one of my clients. So that's why she put in there the Mercedes. I told her about attending this because I thought she needed to hear some of this information. So yeah, share. So SCORE is here to help you with some of these next steps. We help work with business owners from concept all the way through to solution. If you are dissolving your company and all along the way. So you can reach out to a SCORE mentor, you can reach out to SCORE and get a mentor. It is free. It is a free resource. There are business experience people who have different types of experiences. And if you can have multiple mentors as well, and they will pull in people depending upon what you're looking for. So you're not alone in this process. If you're already working with Score Mentor, great. But if not, you can go to our website, and the link is up on the screen, and request a mentor. You can search by area code. You can actually search the list of mentors and find a mentor and request a specific mentor if you would like. So there's our contact information. And we have our headquarters in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And here's our general contact information as well. So I just wanted to check the chat and the Q&A and see if there are any last minute questions. And we do have a poll, so please don't go anywhere, folks. I do want to just put up a quick poll. And while I do that, I'll let people ask any questions they may have and let Matt and folks answer them. All right, Shanaria put up the SBA funding grants link. That's great. Any other questions that folks have? I encourage you again, just take one of the things that the key learnings that you got from tonight and work on that, implement it. It's one step at a time. You don't need to take it all at one step at a time. So hopefully you see the poll that's up on your screen. I would appreciate it if you would take some time to give us feedback so that we know what's working in our educational programs and what's not, and what you would like to hear more about. So please, if you would take a minute or two and just give us some of the feedback in that poll on your screen. Again, we will be sending out presentation and a recording of the presentation to all of those who registered. Amy, you don't see a poll, and you weren't able to see other people earlier, were you? So I think that might be something on your side, Jamie. It looks like we're getting other responses to the poll. Sorry, Jamie, you'll have to give me feedback next time we talk. All right, keep going. And all right, let's see how many people are still here. I have 13 people on, and I've got 6 responses. If I could just get a few more, that would be really helpful. Give us some of the feedback on this session. Truist has been kind enough to do a number of these sessions, and always so informative and so helpful. Great business partners with us. And it's a wonderful thing that these types of webinars are free. And really appreciate everybody's time during the evening. So Matt, you can go and have your chicken dinner, I guess, afterwards.
Oh, yes. You all solidified that I'm definitely having chicken tonight.
All right. Well, I think we're going to end the poll. Thank you very much for the feedback and appreciate everybody's information. And again, thank you, Matt, Shanaria, and Scenaria, and all the participants.